A rather solid week of Beyond the Gates has concluded. I'm going to be talking about yesterday and today's episodes, April 10th and April 11th. We'll start with yesterday's episode. There was two big things that happened in yesterday's episode that we should talk about. And the first thing was Dani getting fired from the board doing her charity work with the whole fashion show. It was good to see Dani have, face some consequences for her acting a fool the entire first several weeks of the show when she brought a gun to a wedding. I thought it was very realistic that a board would want her actions to have consequences. Now, them firing her after she put in the work to do the fashion show was a little shady, I would say. But then her parents, and especially Anita, per usual, just want to let her kind of not face the consequences. And I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but Anita and Vernon get on my damn nerves. They're supposed to be the matriarch and patriarch of the family. And maybe it's just because I'm a Days of Our Lives guy. So I automatically go to Alice and Tom Horton. And I've never seen much of the 60s or early 70s of Days. So maybe they were helping their children when they were doing criminalistic things, like bringing guns to weddings. But I doubt it. I felt like Alice would always help people. She would help people when they were being wrongly accused of something. But in this case, Dani is not being wrongly accused. So I don't know if it's being written for us that we're meant to be irked by the way Anita and Vernon are with protecting the family, the way they go about it. But I am. And I think a lot of that is they want to show us that it's the wealth thing. And, they have the money, they have the power in the city so that they can protect their children this way. And that's all fine and good. And I think a lot of that is to also show us that even though Dani has this family that will help her out of facing any consequences for her actions, she's also still very isolated right now, and her own family don't realize how lonely she is and that she's becoming such a bad alcoholic after everything that happened with Bill. But then I go and I think about how Anita and Vernon are always kind of giving in to Bill on the show. And the way Anita and Vernon are being written, it's making me very much Team Bill in that situation. I need someone to knock the Duprees down a peg by the end of the year. And I know that Dana/Leslie is definitely going to wreck Nicole's family. But Nicole is the lesser of the evils in that family. So I still need the Anitas, the Martins, and the Vernons to be knocked down some pegs. And if that makes me Team Bill in that whole situation, then I gotta be Team Bill. It is what it is. And Bill and Hayley were at the country club yesterday, kind of rubbing it in Dani's face when she got fired at the country club. Now, Hayley's been getting a lot of flack at the country club, and frankly, she deserves all the flack. Hayley just thought that she was going to marry into power and everyone was just going to respect her, and it's just not happening for her because everyone sees her as the homewrecker that she is. So no, I do not feel sorry for Hayley. But I understand Bill trying to make her feel better by taking her to the country club. But while they were there together, the wait staff were still only respecting Bill and not respecting her, which I did find entertaining. By the end of the episode, Bill and Hayley were trying to rub it in to Dani because she got fired, and Bill loves taking his low blows with Dani, which I don't like about Bill. Like, Bill can be an obnoxious villain. It's just that when it comes to him versus Anita and Vernon, I'm starting to like the fact that they always kowtow to him. Because for everyone else, they don't do that and they want to protect their family. But with Bill, he has blackmail and dirt on the family and he could ruin some shit. And I'm hoping that shit starts to be ruined soon. Hayley was trying to tell Dani yesterday, though, that they're not so different after all. Dani said Hayley's brain is broken. Hayley was saying she pities Dani. Dani tried to tell Hayley they don't have a damn thing in common, and she has to cling to Bill to not be a pariah, which I thought was very, very true. I enjoyed those scenes. There's some good interactions when it comes to Bill and, of course, Dani, because they have chemistry. But also when you throw Hayley in it, I become very much Team Dani in that situation, because Hayley is just a very obnoxious character to me. Like I said, her always wanting everyone to treat her like the victim when she's not the victim whatsoever. She is the reason she is in the predicament she is with the entire town. They could just move. That is just true. If she doesn't like the way the community treats her, she could just move. But that's where they wanted to live, so it is what it is. Also, yesterday we had more of Samantha wanting to become a model, and of course Martin was the father that was totally against it, because he always has to be the asshat in that family, so that was not surprising. But Smitty was right when he told Martin that them always telling Samantha no, that she can't date, and now that she can't be a model is going to make her rebel, and she's starting to do that by the end of yesterday. And into today's episode by wanting Chelsea to be her manager. But of course, Dani got involved with that today, because Dani doesn't have a life right now. She's feeling isolated. She can't be the manager for her daughter anymore. So she was trying to be it for Samantha. But she had already asked Chelsea. Even though Chelsea wouldn't have the time. The whole reason Chelsea quit modeling was so she can focus on her new business endeavor with her bags. But so far it looks like Chelsea is going to help Samantha. I can't say I'm that invested in that story yet, so hopefully it does become a little bit more interesting. Now, something I am invested in is how Shanice has been brought into this whole story with Dana / Leslie now having a new character to play, with her being the nurse in the hospital, to put the potassium in Laura to keep her out of action so Eva could keep her job. Today, Eva was also being nosy. You know, the episode started with Shanice gossiping on the phone about the fashion show and about Dani being fired from the board. And I don't know. I think Shanice is very entertaining. She entertains me. I know she entertains others in the comments, like Ray. She's a very entertaining character. And, of course, Eva's my favorite character. So those two getting interactions was nice today. Eva was asking Shanice about the new nurse, because Shanice did bring that up to Eva. The funniest line of today's episode was when Eva kept asking questions about the new nurse that Shanice didn't know. Shanice hypocritically called Eva too nosy, which I thought was ironic, it being Shanice saying that, of course. So that was entertaining. Then later, Eva tried to confront her mother because she walked in on her mother with her newest wig, and she was pretty spot on about calling out her mother for being the nurse. But, of course, Dana did a good job of gaslighting her daughter, and by the end of the episode was trying to make Eva trust her because she just trusts Eva so much. And she did tell Eva something interesting, that if she goes too far, she knows Eva will be there to catch her when she falls. That makes me think that Eva's going to have to catch her when she goes too far and falls from grace with her planning. Probably coming up in May sweeps. We saw that Dana had an invite to the anniversary party. It said April 29th on that. So by the end of this month, I think that's probably the first week of May sweeps, which is good. A good time to have a big event where the truth might come out about Ted. But speaking of Ted, today the truth did come out as Ted decided to tell Andre about him cheating in the past. This came up because Andre was going on about how Bill is scum because he cheated on Dani and tore apart his family. And Andre looks up to Ted. He wants to be like Ted. And I think Andre was saying this because I do think Andre really does care about Dani. You know, they have this very much fuck buddy relationship, but I do think Andre has shown many times now that he does still care for Dani. He went to Nicole to try and get her to see that Dani has some problems and is lonely. But this made Ted feel guilty because he told Andre that he's not who Andre thinks he is. Told Andre about that when Nicole was having a lot of issues with miscarriages, Ted was being quite the scumbag by cheating. So we found out that when Nicole was having miscarriages, which happened between having Martin and having Kat, that is when Ted had this affair. And I was kind of hoping that Andre would feel some kind of way about this. But by the end of the episode, it still seemed like Andre just looks up to Ted. They just have this really close relationship. And he's going to hold this water for Ted because he still respects Ted, even though Andre was just going on about Bill being a scumbag, when clearly Ted is arguably just as big, as not bigger, because he keeps giving this other woman money and trying to pay her off, and Nicole has never learned the truth. And we've seen Andre and Nicole have interactions too, so you would think Andre would feel some kind of way about Nicole not knowing about this, but I guess Nicole is not his blood aunt like Ted is his blood uncle. I want more from the Andre character because I don't know what he's supposed to be. Like, he started the show like he was supposed to be this player, but now he's pining over the most boring character on the show. They just need to pick a struggle with Andre, really. As for Ted, it was interesting that he got this off his chest, and I think he did this because I don't think he's so sure that his trying to buy off Dana really worked as well as he was trying to tell Andre it did this time. Or maybe he was telling this to Andre because he's starting to feel like he might have to tell Nicole the truth soon if he really didn't get this other woman to back off. But one thing Ted was right about in that conversation is that the other woman is pretty crazy. I mean, Ted knows that he's seen Dana in different disguises now. You know, he saw her as Sheila, acting like she was wanting to commit suicide. Saw her at the bar with Kat in a different disguise. Saw her somewhere else too, I believe. Oh, the waitress at the event. So yeah, he's seen that. He knows she's crazy. So we'll see the fallout for that at the end of the month, which I'm much looking forward to. One thing online I've seen a lot of speculation is these miscarriages. Is Martin really their son? Because clearly Nicole's had trouble with pregnancies before. I think that could be wishful thinking because a lot of people think that Martin should have just been Anita and Vernon's, or one of theirs. Maybe he's their Anita or Vernon's secret love child and Nicole just adopted them. But that'd be an interesting twist. Also speculation that maybe one of these miscarriages wasn't real and that it was Eva, and somehow Dana got that kid, and then she would really be Sheila Carter. I kind of hope that's not true. I want Eva to be Dana's daughter. I want them to continue to have that connection because I do think they have great scenes together as mother and daughter, as we saw today. The only other thing that happened today was Doug's gambling, which is honestly starting to make me groan. Like every time I see Ashley or Derek on an episode, I kind of groan. Today, when I saw Doug in the casino, I definitely groaned. They need to really get that story moving because in its current state, it's pretty lame. And if they want to turn Joey into this bigger villain, it's time to start moving that along too. I liked Vanessa blowing off Diego in text because she was meeting up with Joey. I still think they're going to turn Diego into the possessive side piece. And eventually Vanessa and Joey are definitely going to have a real affair. They have the chemistry, it's true. As for Doug, though, today we at least saw him doing his job for once. But he was sucking at the job because he was worried about his gambling. He was not doing very good during surgery. So Doug is realizing now that he needs to stop gambling. Hopefully that is like a turning point in the story where Joey can really, once and for all, put Doug in the hole and move the story along to wherever it's actually going to go. It needs to start moving one way or the other, though. But outside of that, it was a very solid week. I don't love the Samantha wants to model storyline, and I don't love this gambling storyline, but everything else has been pretty great. Well, besides Derek and Ashley and Andre's triangle, that's a given. But everything else was solid this week. The Dani stuff was entertaining as always. The Dana and Eva stuff, my favorite stuff on the show still. And as long as Shanice doesn't get caught in the crossfires like I was talked about the last time I talked about this show, I'll be happy.